Kia ora and welcome to this episode of the Amateur Austen Night. I'm Frances Duncan, an author and the founder of the Jane Austen Society of Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's just me today, talking about Taylor Swift lyrics that kind of work for Northanger Abbey. This is, I believe, the last episode we'll be talking about Northanger Abbey. I've organised these into characters, and first we're going to talk about Catherine. The most obvious quote that is very, very Catherine, and she would even say about herself is, "I'm only 17, I don't know anything," which Taylor Swift says. And Betty, I mean, this is one of the great things about Catherine, is she's so self-aware. A lot of teenagers think they know everything about the world, and her innocent ignorance is so charming. And this is a thing that people around her recognise. This quote is from Clara. "This town is fake, but you're the real thing. Breath of fresh air through smoke rings. Take the glory, give everything. Promise to be dazzling." And this is one of the things that Mr. Tilney and General Tilney, in a little bit of a way also, implicates about Catherine. She's real. She's not fake like everybody else. She's this breath of fresh air. And maybe the taking the glory and being dazzling is a little more General Tilney than Mr. Tilney, to be fair. There are a couple of quotes that to me seemed like things Mr. Tilney would say to Catherine. Another quote from Betty: "Will you have me? Will you love me? Will it patch your broken wings?" When he comes to Fullerton, he's supplicant to her, but he's also concerned about how upset she is, and he wants to make things better for her. The way that Catherine feels about Mr. Tilney is not a secret. Miss Tilney and Mr. Tilney and even General Tilney can see it really easily, and Catherine is completely unaware of this. So a line that spoke to me from the Alchemy was, "'Cause the sign on your heart said it's still reserved for me. Honestly, who are we to fight the alchemy?" Catherine, from the moment she met Mr. Tilney, was his. Her heart was reserved for him, and he's aware of it. And he's like, well, who are we to fight this? This is a thing. We should go with it. In relation to John Thorpe and Catherine, a line from The Bolter stood out to me. "He was a cad, wanted her bad, just like any good trophy hunter." He is a cad and he does want Catherine, and he doesn't think of her as a person. She is more of a trophy. She, in theory, will bring him money and status, ignoring the part where John Thorpe is completely delusional and she's not able to bring either of those things. Interestingly, that same part of The Bolter could be about Isabella and Captain Tilney. Sorry, we're moving on to Isabella now. "He was a cad, wanted her bad, just like any good trophy hunter." Totally Captain Tilney. He is a cad and he's just going for it for fun. This is sport. It continues. "And she liked the way it tastes, taming a bear, making him care, watching him jump, than pulling him under." She does enjoy this. She does think that she's making him care about her, taming Captain Tilney, and is going to pull him under her spell. She's wrong, but that's what she thinks is happening. A line that very early on in reading I went, that is so Isabella. From Paper Rings, "I like shiny things, but I'd marry you with paper rings." Very insincerely, she would say this to James. After they get the letter from his father, the whole implication of that conversation is she's happy to marry him with no money. But we know that's actually what she cares about. One of the web series that Aimee and I discussed was Northbound, and the character of Isabella in Northbound had a Twitter. Actually, a lot of the characters had Twitter, and it was called Twitter at that point. Her quote for Twitter in her description was, "Darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream," from Blank Space. Kind of appropriate for Isabella. She is supposed to be quite attractive, but yeah, a bit of a nightmare. Also, in I Look in People's Windows, note that it actually says Northbound. I was very excited about that, and I heard it several times before I could remember to go back and check which song it was. There's a quote from I Bet You Think About Me. "I'm harder to forget than I was to leave. I bet you think about me," which, by the way, amazing song, and if you have not seen the video, go and see it. I'm pretty sure that Isabella finds it hard to forget James. We know she wants to get back with him after the breakup. She still thinks about him. But it's entirely possible that on the other side of things, James is also unable to forget her and thinking about her. This was his first love. He truly believed that they were in love. He will think about her. She may only think about him with regret because of the position she gave up, not necessarily him as a person. Isabella will have to deal with karma. Sweet like justice, karma is a queen. Isabella does deal with karma. Captain Tilney does not propose to her, and James will not take her back. There's a really beautiful line in So Long, London, which means a lot to me. You swore that you loved me, but where were the clues? I died on the altar waiting for the proof. This is so James to Isabella. She says that she loved him, but she doesn't act like it. And the whole altar thing could be talking about a sacrifice, or it could be talking about the wedding altar. You could say that his broken heart over Isabella is him dying at the altar of their wedding that never happened, waiting for the clues that Isabella loved him, which he said, and he believed. One song, which basically the entire thing could be about Isabella from either Catherine or James, is Bad Blood. I was thinking you could be trusted. Did you have to ruin what was shining? Now it's all rusted. She ruined her friendship with Catherine. She ruined her engagement with James. Did you think we'd be fine? Still got scars on my back from your knife? Because she did stab him in the back. So don't think it's in the past. These kind of wounds, they last and they last. Neither of the Morland siblings will be quite as trusting again. Now, did you think it all through? All these things will catch up to you, which they did. She ends up without a husband, without a fiancé. And time can heal, but this won't. So if you come in my way, just don't. Isabella writes to Catherine, and Catherine, after some painful consideration, is not going to write her a letter back. I almost said email her back. And we know that Thorpe tries to get James and Isabella back together, and that doesn't work. Oh, it's so sad to think about the good times, you and I, because baby, now we got bad blood. You know, it used to be mad love. So take a look at what you've done. Yeah. Isabella loved Catherine. Isabella loved James. They had wonderful times together. They loved each other. And yeah, not good now. You say sorry just for show. Actually, does Isabella even say sorry? No. She's very like, oh, nothing happened. Your brother was just confused about what was happening. If necessary, I think she would say sorry, but it would just be for show. She only considers the consequences of her actions on herself, not on other people or other people's feelings. General Tilney was quite a fun one to pull some quotes about. In 7, these lines could be Catherine talking to the Tilneys. I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted. Your dad is always mad, and that must be why. She can tell that there's tension in the house, but she's so confused because she's like, but General Tilney's nice. I don't get it. He's so nice to me. And then we move on to her thinking about the departed Mrs. Tilney. I think he did it, but I can't prove it. No body, no crime, but I ain't leading up till the day I die. From No Body, No Crime. Catherine's so certain that the general had something to do with his wife's death, whether he literally killed her or just neglected her. So the whole Tilney family had some idea about what General Tilney was like. And Catherine heard enough in suspecting him of murdering or shutting up his wife that she had scarcely sinned against his character or magnified his cruelty. This makes me think of Cassandra. They knew the whole time that I was onto something. The family, the pure greed, the Christian chorus line, they all said nothing. Blood's thick, but nothing like a payroll. The whole family were tied in to General Tilney by money. There is literally no way for them to step outside of their family and be able to survive, though one of the adaptations does have Mr. Tilney cutting himself off from his father. And there is a bit at the end of the book, before the reconciliation, where he separates himself from his father. But they knew the greed that that's what he was after. If you're not a classicist like me, you may not know the story of Cassandra. She was a Trojan princess, and she was supposed to marry Apollo, and he gave her the gift of foresight, so she was a seer. But then she decided she didn't want to marry Apollo, never a good idea to piss off a god, because he said, sure, you can keep that gift. However, no one will ever believe you. So she was able to see what was coming in the Trojan War was a big thing, but could do nothing about it because nobody believed her. And that's kind of the whole background of the song Cassandra. Taylor Swift saying, like, I warned people about things and you wouldn't listen to me, you thought I was crazy, and hello, I am right. There's a bit at the end of the novel where Jane Austen talks about the fact that they were separated by the general's disapproval meant that they were able to write to each other, even though technically they shouldn't have because their engagement wasn't properly approved. But they secretly corresponded, and that helped them know each other better and build their relationship. So in a way, it's thanks to General Tilney that they ended up with such a good relationship, which makes me think of this line from Thank You, Aimee. When I count the stars, there's a moment of truth that there wouldn't be this if there hadn't been you. So sure, General Tilney caused some scars for Catherine, like making an almost child drive 12 hours across the country unaccompanied. Not cool. But had he not intervened, their relationship may not have been as strong, and with his initial support of their relationship, it might not have gone anywhere. So the last person that I have quotes about is John Thorpe. From The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. I think the title alone says something about John Thorpe. It's not necessarily a phallic thing. He's puffing himself up a lot because he feels small. Was any of it true, gazing at me starry-eyed? The way that he looked at Catherine and the big compliments he was trying to pay her, which was completely oblivious to, thank the gods. Was any of it true? He was saying she was the prettiest girl. She's like, I think your friends will think you're crazy. And gazing at her like she was this wonderful thing. And Catherine didn't know how to take it because, I mean, to start off with, it was insincere. And then in public showed me off. He did want to say, I have the prettiest, richest girl on my arm. He talked about doing that, but weirdly then also abandoned her when he was supposed to dance with her and just sort of strolled up like, hi, you've been waiting for me. Not sorry you've been waiting for me, just you've been waiting for me. I hope you've enjoyed this. Taylor Swift's kind of a new obsession of mine, so I'm really enjoying putting Taylor Swift and Jane Austen together, and I've been making reels on Instagram and YouTube with some Austen quotes and Taylor Swift music and bits from adaptations, movies. If you're interested, you can check those out. I'm quite proud of them. I don't know if anyone else watches them, and it's cool if they don't, because I really enjoy doing it. That's my discussion about Taylor Swift quotes for Northanger Abbey. Thank you for listening, and I wish you happy reading and happy listening.